What's up, everybody? Sorry for being so inactive for the past month. I've just been busy, but I really wanted to get a video out for UFC 300 because this card is absolutely stacked. This might be the most stacked card in UFC history. I mean, it probably is. And I'm in love with it, and I just want to talk about it. So basically, I'm just going to go from the bottom to the top, starting with the first fight of the card, and just giving my thoughts and predictions for the fights. Let's not waste any time and let's get into this. So, Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. The fact that this is the first fight on the card is insane. Two former champions going at it. Cody Garbrandt has had his struggles, but he is coming off back-to-back wins. Most recently, he beat Brian Kelleher, which is a pretty decent win. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's all the way there yet. You got Davison Figueiredo. This is his he moved up to bantamweight. He had his bantamweight debut. Yeah, he beat Rob Font. That's pretty impressive, and he looked really good, and he won that pretty convincingly. He looks good at bantamweight. Looks like he kind of kept his power. I mean, Rob Font is kind of known to be a chinny fighter, but Figueredo looked good, and I do favor Figueredo to beat Cody Garbrandt. I know a lot of people love Cody Garbrandt, but I'm just not too convinced right now about Cody Garbrandt. I do have Figueredo probably knocking him out early. So that is my first prediction. Davis and Figueredo. Now we're going to go to Bobby Green versus Jim Miller, a battle of the veterans. My heart's with Jim Miller on this one. I want to see Jim Miller win. A big storyline coming into this card is Jim Miller being the only fighter to fight at UFC 100, 200, and 300. Dude's longevity is insane. I mean, that's crazy to me. And he won both of those fights, the UFC 100 and 200 fights. He won, so it would be really cool if he won this fight. Bobby Green's pretty tough though. Bobby Green has definitely had a resurgence late in his career. He is coming off a pretty rough knockout loss though, and that could be affecting him. I mean, it was bad. If you guys haven't seen the Jalen Turner Bobby Green fight, where ridiculously late stoppage, internet went crazy over how late the stoppage was, and Bobby took a lot of damage. Will that affect him? I mean, that didn't happen that long ago. It's still pretty recent, so who knows? I'm gonna go with Jim Miller on this one, and I really do hope he wins. Next fight up is Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Not much to say about this. Another former champion in Jessica Andrade, and Marina Rodriguez has not been known to do very good against big hitters. She lost to Amanda Lemos, and in women's divisions, it's kind of hard to find the big hitters, but she did get pretty beat up by Amanda Lemos, and who knows what will happen if Jessica Andrade lands one on her, and who knows? But Jessica Andrade has also not been looking that great in these last few fights. So I could definitely see Marina Rodriguez winning this one. Definitely a more complete technical striker is Rodriguez, but Jessica Andrade has the nuclear option. Probably the hardest hitting female fighter, either her or Amanda Nunes, just because Amanda Nunes is the bigger fighter between the two. I'm gonna go with Jessica Andrade. I think I think that she'll be able to land a good one on Marina and rock her and probably get a TKO. Next up, to close the early prelims, and the fact that this is on the early prelims, I mean, it just goes to show how crazy this card is. Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I just want to see them both win. Jalen Turner has been one of my more favorite prospects to watch. I think he gets better every time he shows up in the octagon. Really he's kind of just great everywhere he seems to be. He had that rough going with Dan Hooker, but he made up for it against the win with Bobby Green. But Bobby Green isn't the greatest win necessarily. I think a win against Moicano would definitely solidify him a little more and he'll start finding his way into higher ranked matchups. Moicano also kind of been in the game for a while, and has had some setbacks. Funny enough, he was at featherweight for a while, and Jalen Turner is actually coming down from welterweight, so there's probably going to be a pretty significant size difference. I don't know yet. We'll see. But this is a good fight. I would love either person to win this one. I am going to go Jalen Turner on this fight. Starting off the prelims, we got Sadiq Yusuff versus Diego Lopez, another absolute banger. I think this one's a bit of a sleeper. Not a lot of people are really talking about this one, but I mean, dude, these are some crazy prospects too. And Diego Lopez has been looking unbelievable in his short time in the UFC. He's looked amazing. And honestly, I don't know who's the favorite to win in this one, but give me Diego Lopez. Honestly, he's so fun to watch. His submission game is slick. His grappling is super slick, and he seems to have some pretty significant power in his hands. So yeah, I would say give me Diego on that one. Next up is in my opinion, probably the only dud on this card. I don't want to be mean, but Holly Holm fights don't interest me anymore. They kept on trying to make us believe that she actually was entertaining. The UFC tried to make us feel like she was actually fun to watch. I mean, she obviously is a huge name, a veteran. Obviously, you got to respect her for that. But man, she is boring. She is so boring. And I don't even really want to talk about this, but I will talk about this because I do find something kind of interesting about this fight. Kayla Harrison, this is her UFC debut. Kayla Harrison is coming from the PFL, where she kind of went on a tear and made a pretty good name for herself. But here's the conversation going into this fight. It's the fact that this fight is going to be in the bantamweight division, which is 135 pounds. Kayla Harrison is a 155er, a women's 155er, and the women's 155 weight class does not exist in the UFC. But there is a 145 weight class, but they're not even doing that. They're going right to 135. And the big question for me is, so I don't know when this video is gonna get released. I'm recording it on Wednesday. I want this to be out by Thursday. Who knows? I don't know if the weigh-ins have happened yet, but I feel like there's no way Kayla Harrison's gonna make weight, right? I think she's gonna miss weight, but that's also kind of crazy to say. Like you would think that she would make the weight. Why would they go to 135 if she couldn't make the weight and they could do 145? Maybe Holly Holm would agree to a 145 matchup. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's really. I don't know if anyone's kind of investigated why this is at 135, but I don't see Kayla Harrison making the weight. But I do have her winning this fight. She should win this fight, and if she doesn't win this fight, that is a major embarrassment. And that's all I have to say about that. Next fight on the card, Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. Another absolute banger. Could be a main event on any given fight night. This is Aljamain Sterling's featherweight debut. He is fighting someone who's been in the game for a while. Fought the best at featherweight, Max Holloway. He obviously kind of got beaten down by Max. But this is a good. I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty good matchup for Kattar. He has great boxing. He's a slow starter, which I think could really affect him in this fight. Aljamain Sterling is a very fast starter. He's going to get up in Calvin Kattar's face quickly, try to go for takedowns, try to take his back. Aljamain Sterling, very good at the back take, the backpack position, and he's going to go there fast. He's going to try to get there as fast as he can. But I think the longer this fight goes, I do think it'll favor Calvin Kattar. He has the size over him. He has the boxing over him. Aljamain Sterling's defense, boxing defense, that is, not the greatest boxing defense. Maybe Kattar can take advantage of that. But if this fight goes to the ground, I don't see Calvin Kattar having the best time down there. But prediction? Tough for me right now. I haven't really thought about this fight very often. I haven't really thought about this fight much. Man, oof. Man, I'm thinking about it now, and I don't know. Aljamain Sterling's a pretty big 135er, so I don't think he'll be too undersized. But I know Calvin Kattar hits pretty hard. He has great boxing. Doesn't throw that many kicks. This is his first fight off back from injury too. Oh man, I this is a tough call for me. I kind of want to go. Give me, give me Calvin Kattar. I don't know, man. Give me Calvin Kattar. I have a feeling about this one. I think his boxing could get the job done. Aljamain Sterling has sus defense. I think Kattar's takedown defense is pretty good. Obviously, that's not the one thing that you have to think of with Aljo. Aljo, he doesn't even need to take you down to submit you. I just think as the fight goes on, Kattar will be able to find his shots. better and he'll settle into the fight. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go Calvin Cater, I think. Prelim featured fight. We got Yuri Prohashka versus Alexander Rakic. Alexander Rakic, this is his first fight back off injury as well. He suffered an ACL tear, I believe, against Jan Blachowicz. That feels like years ago. When did that fight happen, actually? Let's find out when that fight happened. May 14th of 2022. So it hasn't been a full year, but it's been 11 months. That's, yeah, it just feels like a lifetime. But yeah, he injured himself in that fight, so had to pull out. So he's missed a lot of time. But he's going up against Yuri Prohashka. This is a really fun fight, actually. And Rakic isn't really the most entertaining fighter, but Yuri's going to make an entertaining fighter out of anyone. He's going to push him back, and Rakic is going to have to respond or lose. I don't know if this is the best fight for Rakic to come back to. It's a tough fight, and he's been out of the octagon for a while. Um, I I do see Yuri winning. I do see Yuri probably knocking him out at some point in this fight. He's going to put the pressure on, and Yuri still has title hopes. He's ranked number 2 at light heavyweight. A win over Rakic and maybe one more win will throw him right back into title contention. So he's going to be fired up. Give me Yuri Prohashka. On to the main card, and this is the big fights right here, ladies and gentlemen. First fight though, nah, I don't really care that much. A lot of people are kind of dogging on this fight because it's on the main event, but it's good to have a little prospect on there. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Not much to really break down. Not many thoughts for this one. Bo Nickel should win. Let's just say by submission. He really should win this. Yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. He should win. Next fight, here we go. Banger. It's just bangers from here on out, in my opinion. So here we go. Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. Love this fight. I am a huge Charles Oliveira fan, like all based UFC fans alike. Charles Oliveira makes an entertaining fight out of anyone. He's super fun to watch. His submission game is smooth. His grappling is fluid, fun, entertaining, fast paced. But that's what he used to be known for. But now he's kind of known for being a hard hitter, knocking dudes out, hurting dudes with his hands, and his kicks. He's talented in many areas, uh, and he is gunning for another title shot. We're kind of under the implication that whoever wins this fight will get a title shot. So Oliveira wants that bad. He's been very vocal about how when he fought Islam the first time, wasn't really feeling like himself. He wants another shot at it. But another man that wants another shot at it is his opponent, Arman Tsarukyan. Arman started his UFC career fighting Islam on short notice, and he gave an amazing account of himself. He definitely wants to run that one back. He definitely thinks he can win with a full camp. I would love to see that fight, but I would also love to see Charles Oliveira get another title shot. So I'm so conflicted on this one too. Uh, I'm a fan of Arman Tsarukyan. His wrestling game is insanely deep. He has insane top pressure, and he has really good body kicks. Actually, his rear kick, no matter how he throws it, whether up to the head or to the body, it's very powerful, very good technique. He has had trouble with the defense, boxing defense specifically on his exits. Oliveira could punish that, but I could also see Oliveira getting trapped against the cage with the top pressure that Arman has. Oliveira might not be able to get up. I I see that to be less like I think that's less likely than Oliveira hitting him with good shots and hurting Tsarukyan. I think this fight's gonna end quickly. Give me Charles Oliveira by I'm gonna say submission. I'm gonna say that Oliveira hurts Tsarukyan and then gets a submission out of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Arman used top pressure and held Charles Oliveira on the ground and probably TKO'd him from there. Next fight on the card. This is probably the most entertaining fight on paper, the most explosive, the most violent. It is for the BMF title, so makes sense. Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. What can you say about either of these guys? They're both known for how aggressive and entertaining their fights are. Justin Gaethje definitely favored to win in this fight. He seems to be a nightmare matchup for Max Holloway. You know, super he has super good hard leg kicks that Max Holloway's been known to not do great against. He's obviously a hard hitter. It might probably be the hardest hitter that Max Holloway has faced up to this point, except for maybe Dustin Poirier. Uh, Good counter shots, good leg kicks. It's going to be hard to take down Justin Gaethje, so that option might not even be there. It's hard to really hurt Justin Gaethje, which already sucks for Max because Max is not known to be a hard hitter. So it seems like the odds are stacked up against Max here, but you cannot count out Max, dude. An elite fighter. Infinite cardio, which he could definitely use to his advantage. He could go to the body in this fight, which I think he should. Max Holloway has great body shots. He It would benefit him to go to the body against Gaethje and try to tire him out as the fight goes on. This is a 5 rounder. Put the pressure on him. Justin Gaethje has been known to kind of fold under the pressure. If you push Justin Gaethje back, he does not fight as well. But that also might be difficult because if Holloway can't hurt Gaethje, he might not be able to put Gaethje on the back foot. But that has to be the game plan going in. Use your pressure, get Gaethje backing up. That will also stop the leg kicks. You can't really leg kick effectively going backwards. So it's going to be, I think this fight's going to be who is pushing the other person back more effectively, and that will dictate the winner. Although Gaethje does hit hard, we've never really seen Max Holloway hurt that bad. He's never been dropped in the UFC. The chin has yet to be cracked. Anytime we talk about a Max Holloway fight these days, the question is, will this be the fight that his chin gets cracked? Anytime we've had that question, the answer has been no. For every single time, the answer's been no. But you always got to go into a Max Holloway fight with the question: is this going to be the one where he gets cracked? I guess we don't know yet. You know, we'll have to find out. That's kind of a question. Will the Holloway chin hold up? I'm gonna say yes, and I might be biased because I'm a huge Max Holloway fan. But give me Max Holloway to win this fight. I'm gonna go by decision, and I think Holloway will just win the last 3 rounds. I think he's gonna have some trouble in the beginning, but once he gets the pressure going, he gets Gaethje a little tired. I think he'll swarm him. So let's go Max Holloway. Zhang Wei Li versus Yao Shinan is the co-main event, and Yao Shinan is not that great of a fighter. I'm gonna be honest. She did knock out Jessica Andrade, which kind of put people on notice, but I mean, it's just not as impressive these days, you know. And also Andrade was just running in with her chin straight up in the air, and I don't know. I'm not really too high on Yan Shannon. I saw her get dominated embarrassingly by Carla Esparza. That was an embarrassing fight. Uh, Go back and watch her fight against Carla. It was dreadful. It was bad. But she also did beat Mackenzie Dern, but it seems to be pretty easy to beat Mackenzie Dern these days. She's not. She used to be so scary on the ground. Like, oh, if you go on the ground with Mackenzie Dern, it's a foregone conclusion. You're getting strapped, you're getting wrapped up, you're getting your arm broken, you're getting choked out. Just not the case anymore. We've seen multiple times where people have stayed on the ground with Mackenzie Dern and have been fine. They just go super lockdown submission defense mode, and she can't do anything about it. Kind of the same thing with Yan Shannon. She got put in positions on the ground against Mackenzie Dern where you'd be like, oh man, this is done. But it wasn't done. She just got super defensive but just made sure to keep an account all of her limbs, make sure that she didn't give up her neck. It, and then she just kind of won the fight from there because Mackenzie Dern couldn't do anything. So not that impressive to me. Wei Li, on the other hand, has been impressive to me. She kind of started off her career not too impressive to me, but then I think she has grown as a fighter tremendously. I think those Rose Namajunas fights really shaped her into being the fighter she is now. I mean, obviously you got the Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight that shaped her too. I mean, it showed her toughness, and I think that helped her in that way because she went through a lot of adversity. But in terms of her technical breakthroughs, give the credit to the Rose fights because she definitely had to step up, improved everywhere. She's obviously a hard hitter in the strawweight division. She has power, but her boxing is pretty crisp. She has good kicks. She has good kicks, especially off her front foot, and her wrestling is seems to be pretty powerful from the top. So, and she has some pretty good takedowns too. So I'm just gonna go Wei Li here. I think this one's gonna be an easy win for Zhang Wei Li. Main event time, UFC 300 main event is Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. I don't see this going very well for Jamal Hill, and I'm a fan of Jamal Hill. I think he's great. He's definitely a pretty good boxer, but I think he lacks in some areas. I think he lacks in some areas that are going to really hurt him in this fight. His footwork is pretty bad. People on Twitter have been talking about that. He always kind of steps on his own feet sometimes. His feet get so close together. It's definitely a weak point for him. His boxing is good. He has good power. Uh, and his boxing does look crisp at times, but I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to stand up with Alex. And I just don't know if Jamal Hill has the takedowns for Alex Pereira. It does, people do seem to be like, oh, it's easy, just try to take him down. He's a kickboxer. But now at this point, Alex Pereira is an MMA fighter. He's been doing enough to defend simple takedowns. I just don't know what Jamal Hill really has in terms of takedowns for him. I don't even know if he will try to take him down because Jamal Hill's been pretty vocal about Jamal Hill's been pretty vocal about wanting to stand up with Alex. I think the leg kicks will be a terrible time for Jamal. Alex Pereira has great great leg kicks that show no telegraph. He doesn't really move his waist. People have kind of been talking about that he doesn't really turn over at the waist when he does his leg kicks, but they still seem to do crazy damage. So it might help that Jamal Hill is a southpaw. He's a southpaw, so if Alex Pereira tries to throw the rear leg kick to the lead leg while he's an orthodox, those aren't as effective because the shin is right there. You're not really hitting the calf, but those will still hurt. I mean, I don't care if it's Alex Pereira; those type of kicks will still hurt. And who's to say he doesn't just start throwing lead leg kicks, or he might even switch stances himself just to throw the leg kick. Um, the leg kick is going to be a problem. The power of Alex Pereira and his technical kickboxing is going to be a problem for Jamal. I also I also am not a big fan of Jamal Hill. I also am kind of sus about Jamal Hill's cardio. He does seem to get tired pretty quickly in fights. He still fights good. Like he still fights good while tired. We saw it with Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira. He seems visibly tired, but is still fighting good. But I don't know. Against Alex Pereira, you don't want cardio to be an issue. With all that being said, yes, I have Alex Pereira winning this fight, but I could definitely see Jamal Hill hitting with a big shot and he goes down. It's definitely, for me, it's like, well, who's going to land the big shot first here? Because a big shot will definitely land in this fight, and someone's getting stunned. I think someone's going to get knocked out in this fight. I do think it's going to be Jamal Hill, but I could definitely see Jamal Hill knocking out Alex Pereira. But my pick is with Alex Pereira. All right, guys. So those were my quick thoughts and predictions for UFC 300. Once again, sorry I've been kind of absent, and this video is kind of thrown together at last second. But I really wanted to get something out, and I promise to start making more videos in the future. I want to start making a video a week, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later.